I ask you a question? Are you ready to get and keep momentum in your business? I hope so, because it's Penny Elliott here, your host to having the perfect mix of the woo with the do. If you're ready to create the life that you want through a business designed by you, then tune in. Welcome to another episode of the Get Momentum podcast for online entrepreneurs with your host, me, Penny Elliott. This is the show where we match the woo with the do. It's your perfect mix of mindset and strategy to have fast success in your online business so you can actually live the life you thought you would when you first started your business. And today I have an amazing person, James Kemp. I've known you for probably 4 or 5 years now. Been to
Really?
So welcome. It's really nice to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would like to have said this is your my first guest from Bali, but like all New Zealanders, you all scurried back to COVID-free New Zealand as soon as the sort of the flag went up to say the borders were going to be closed. So welcome back to New Zealand.
Thank you.
Welcome back to
Thank you.
in the future. And I mean, I've spent quite a bit of time with James. He's also worked with my ex-husband, so he's definitely like helped keep a roof above our heads for a long time. But the one thing that really stuck with me is when I came to one of your live events and you said to me, keep putting money on that ad until you hit $1 million, it's going to work. And that has always stuck with me. And even throughout having Josh, my little guy, and everyone, I've always kept $5 going on that ad. So, there you go.
Is it still going?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it sure is. And it still brings
A
me
gift that keeps on giving, eh?
Exactly. Better than a box of chocolates because my butt didn't get big either. So, over to you, James. You can do a formal introduction and tell people how you work with them.
Yeah, I mean, fundamentally, we work with experienced business consultants and help them unpackage their IP into scalable products, help them market and get more clients, and help them deliver with leverage. So it's a lot of fun.
That's amazing. And you've got a huge amount of experience as well. I mean, you sell yourself a bit short there. Tell us how you came into the online world.
So I got lucky. Right? So over a decade ago, I was an entrepreneur, and then what happened was I self-taught myself websites and SEO and pay-per-click and WordPress and all these things, because what happened was I had a business that actually was going door to door selling products. And I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was an entrepreneur. And so when we lived in the UK, I left my banking job and then went out and bought a little business and started knocking on doors and selling products to people. And then realized that at the time that it was probably easier to get people online than it was to go around and knock on 10,000 doors. And I think the day that my pregnant wife came out with me and said that she'd help me knock on doors was probably the day that I realized that there wasn't, a scalable future in knocking on doors in council estates in Essex and in England. So I took some of those skills and I started to generate leads. And then not long after that, all my customers went out of business. So I was left carrying the can. I was left holding the can with some skills and a little bit of debt. And I needed to get a job. And I emailed a guy at 11 o'clock at night and said, I've just seen your new startup in London. And that was a business called Living Social. And this was a time in the daily deals market. And I saw these businesses rise, and I emailed him at 11:51, and he replied at midnight. And at 8:30 the next morning, I was in Mayfair getting a job interview, and I was employee number 10 for what turned out to be the fastest growing online business in the world, because not that long after, Amazon invested and we proceeded to hire in the region of 6,000 people. So I was kind of really early in the pure pay online space, and going back a decade, we kind of forget that there were businesses that were before that weren't on the internet, and then developed a lot of skills, which culminated in me coming back to New Zealand and running marketing for a business called Grab One. But on the side, I had clients all the way along. So I was doing consulting and these things. So I've been consulting for a decade of my life. And then over time, that's developed into a place where I had to solve some problems for myself. I was selling time for money. I realized the limitations of that. I had lots of knowledge. I realized the opportunity in that. So along the way, I scratched a lot of my own itches, and it turns out I love to help other people scratch that itch, because my fundamental belief is that knowledge is the greatest untapped resource on earth, and I love helping people unpack it.
Amazing. So that shows all the listeners and anyone that's watching this just like the depth that's behind what you're about to say for the rest of the episode, right? This is not like your overnight wonder who's done one course and now repurposing that and spouting it back to us. This is like years and years and years of experience. And there's not very many people on the planet who can say that they are like in the top 10 first employees of a business that Amazon then took over. I mean, that must have been like a gold day when like one of the hugest platforms in the world buys your business. I would have loved to have been inside the four walls of that celebration when that happened. That would have been amazing.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, right? You know, all those moments, you know, we look back and think we were just a scrappy kind of startup, and, you know, it was a job until it wasn't. And it's been an amazing ride. Yeah.
Amazing. So with all the experience that you've got and all the different places that you found clients, you know, we're all about creating consistent clients here. So where do you, or how do you create your consistent flow of clients currently? What's your secret sauce?
Yeah, you know, overnight success. I got you know, all the secrets. We're all one funnel away, right? You know, that's I saw it on the internet, so it must be true.
After you flew in on your private jet.
So like most things, before you take a step forward, I think you got to take a step back. And you know, I talk to dozens of people every week, you know, privately or in group environments, and the reality is most people don't have something that they can get consistent clients for and consistently deliver against. So to step forward, we got to kind of take a step back and say, what are we selling into whom, and what's the delivery vehicle? Because a lot of businesses are on that unstable, you know, get the work, do the work kind of cycle. And they want more money, they want more freedom, they want more time, but often they don't have a vehicle that will get them there. So, you know, the internet that nowadays is like, look to this thing that we just use to get clients. But actually, if we look at the way that we can deliver, you know, IP, so, you know, content, courses, programs, you know, we can get people on Zoom calls, we can deliver with a lot of leverage. So before people start getting consistent clients, I get them to work on a consistent delivery vehicle. You know, what are you selling? How can you consistently deliver it? How can you consistently serve? So actually developing a product before you actually go to market, because once you are very clear on the person, the problem it's solving, the process that you take them through, and the promise that you're making, then you can actually have something to talk about and actually sell and market. So it starts with taking a step back and saying, well, what am I really good at? What's the process that I take people through? What kind of gap am I trying to cross with my client? Okay, they're trying to lose weight. You know, where are they now and where they need to go, and what do they need to get there? They're trying to make money. Where are they now, where they need to go, what assets, what resources they have, and design a vehicle to do that, which is just what a product is. So before you go consistent with the client piece, you need something that you can give consistently. And you know, again, it's like my business didn't grow until we stopped doing 23 things. You know, I took the traditional route into consulting. I sold time for money, and then people asked me to deliver services. And one day I turned around and I looked at all these expenses, all this complexity, all this custom stuff that we were doing for clients, and realized I didn't know Arthur from Arthur. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to market it. I didn't know how to, you know, every single piece was delivered. So you can't scale custom businesses. They're very, very difficult to do. So focus purely on one thing that gets an amazing result, and then you've got something to actually go to the market with.
Perfect. Yeah. I think too often when we're first starting out, you sort of, someone's like, oh, well, I don't know if that's exactly what I'm after. And you're like, well, I can remold it and make it exactly what you want, because I think you might buy something from me and I need the money. And so you sort of remold it a bit and you're like, yes, I've got a client. Cha-ching! I can do that. And then the next person will want something a little bit different again. And so you kind of remodel it again. And like you said, you ended up with 23 different offers and you're like, you kind of just tell me what you want and I'll make something work. And the person on the other side of the conversation is going, well, hang on, I thought you were the consultant. I thought you were the expert. I thought you were the authority. You tell me what I need. And this is where you get so many no's. You know, you get that sort of accelerated growth, and then all of a sudden you get all these no's because no one's taking lead of the sales conversation and saying, look, this is where you're at, this is what you need, and this is what I can offer. Because you're too busy trying to go, well, I can do that, and I can also do that, and I can do that, and I can do that, and I can do that. You know, like you said, the weight loss example, well, you could do paleo because I can give you a paleo diet, or we could talk about exercise, or we could talk about sleep, or we could talk about this. And the person's like, I just want to lose weight. I'm sick of being fat. You give me the secret sauce. Yeah.
It is a frame of leadership. You're 100% right. You know, to say, this is the way I do things. This is the process I follow. This is a problem I believe you have. Yeah. This is the pain it's causing you in your life. And this is how we solve it. This is the promise I'm making, you know, to you. So should I give the listeners another way to, you know, think about that? Because there's only 3 things we need to give someone to initiate change in their life or their business or anything. It's the content. You've got to teach them to fish. So you can do that through an online course. You can do that through a program. But if you just give them that, it's really cookie cutter, right? So you get paid for the next bit, which is customization. So customization, like, you know, for my client program, we have multiple group calls a week where we help them modify our framework and help them place it into their own blueprint. You know, so customization is done over Zoom calls, remotely, with groups and occasional workshops, etc. And then there's the community piece, you know, the accountability, bringing them together, you know, another way of communicating, because the internet's opened up the fact that we can touch our clients and customers every single day, you know, if we put them in groups, or some of my clients use Slack or some of these places. So if people think about content, customization, and then community, if you've got all those lanes and you've got all those elements and you've said, I'm going to help you lose 10 kilos in 90 days using this, and I'll give you access to this, this, and this, and this, then someone's got a lot of confidence that you've got a process they can follow, and they're much more likely to buy.
Exactly. 100%. Couldn't agree more. And I think the other thing to tack on to the end of that is, how many people are on the internet now?
Couple.
Yeah.
Couple. I think it's going to catch on. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think so. So imagine, so many people I find with my clients are really fearful of offending people by saying, I only do it this way, you know. And I just say to people, well, imagine if you had the 3.5 billion people that are on the internet go, yes, I want that right now. You know, you just couldn't look at your face. You're going, no, how could I scale that? But you couldn't take it on straight away, right? You couldn't just have everyone all at once. So it's totally fine not to customize for everyone's needs, you know?
It's actually optimal. It's actually ideal, because if you can help people follow a proven process and you get better at that process over and over again by repeating it, then you get better results. 100%. Your clients get better results. Better results gets you more clients. More clients makes you more money, gives you more freedom, how it allows you to hire more people. You know, you're simple on the other side of complex for most, but that's why I work with experienced people, because they've already done a lot of stuff. So my job is condensing down rather than teaching people brand new things to give people. That's why, you know, having a narrow focus is one of the challenging things, because we're not taught that way when we grow up. And we're taught to add more stuff and add more things to grow them. But really, if you just kind of distill it down to its core parts, then a business is a lot simpler to scale. Yeah, definitely. A lot less moving parts to keep an eye on as well. So no plates drop. So like, when have you, so obviously we've talked about the fact that it's not a straight line to the top. You know, there are ups and downs. I wish it was, eh? It's a secret sauce. You're one funnel away, remember?
Yeah, so, you know, unlike myself, it's not a straight line to the top for some. So when have you had to, like, really, you know, you spoke about, like, you know, being in this for a decade. I'm sure you've got many examples, but what's one that stands out to you where you've really had to dig deep, like within yourself, to get that momentum in your business after a setback?
I think it was pretty recently, actually. About 18 months ago, we decided to scale our business and started hiring people. And I overhired. So I hired too many people.
Yeah.
I added too many cooks in the kitchen. And I added too much complexity, and I was too sensitive to what the people in the business wanted to do rather than what we were good at and what our vision was. So I had to make some hard decisions, about 7 months in, to say, this isn't what I want. And I've made a mistake, and that caused some hard conversations with people, and, consolidating back and simplifying again. Yeah. So I think it's easy to, when a business like mine it's very simple for us to generate leads or generate sales, or, and our clients stay for a long time. I think it's easy to get ahead of yourself and pre-scale is what I call it. Like, build too much stuff on the anticipation that something's going to happen. Whereas really, if you go to the edge and say, I'm going to go to the edge, but until I make that big next leap of the new product, the new hire, the new commitment, the new marketplace or expansion, you tend to be a little bit, you tend to grow the business as it scales rather than growing it before it does. And I see this a lot in the online space, where people are thinking about their delivery and they're like, oh, I can't scale this. When I have 100 clients, and you're like, dude, you don't even have 2. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? So I see it. I think it's quite a common thing where either people try and scale too early, or they scale too late and they hold on because of fear, because they're running it like a job, and they just like drawing down all the money from the business, and then they end up burnt out. So I think big lessons for me around what scale is, and doing the right things at the right time. Because I over-expanded our business, and I over-expanded the cost and complexity in the business before we really, really needed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fine line, isn't it, between like hiring some people to help you, to give you the space to be creative and do the sales, right? You need to focus on. Sales is like air in your lungs. You have to have it. You've got to have it in your business. But actually having the sales to support the scale that you want to go to. Yeah.
And I made a big mistake as well. I didn't seek counsel. As I grow up, I realized that, who rather than how, as I think Dan Sullivan and Dean Jackson kind of, coined that kind of little ditty. But it's a very, people should be asking who, like, who was there, because I've got access to those people. Some of them are my friends, some of them are mentors. I'm in masterminds with people who are there, and I didn't seek counsel and say, I want to do this, and are these the right decisions to make? So, who rather than how. I thought the how, and I went higher when I should have gone who first, and then I would have made a much more logical decision at the point, and not overcommit and let some people down.
But they're all lessons, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Failure is great because it doesn't exist, right? It doesn't exist if you just keep going.
Exactly. So if you could go like back to the start of your business, knowing what you know now, obviously that is a really good example. What would you tell your young entrepreneurial self? Would it be to keep seeking counsel the whole way through, or would it be something else?
Do one thing. Over and over again, I see the people with the most, entrepreneurs want freedom, right? But freedom is just another word for choice. Mm-hmm. And the people with the most choice often have the simplest thing, the simplest vehicle. They've got the simplest business built around a rich life, Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes the crossover, because especially in this age of like the influencer and personal brands and these things, I think there's an intersection of significance with people's businesses that is very challenging emotionally, because you're kind of out there a lot more than you were before. the people with the most power tend to have the simplest vehicle that got them there. My good friend Sam Ovens is a wonderful example.
Yeah.
Do one thing, do it really well, keep the straight line, with your products, your offer, your marketing, your delivery system, one customer, do it, speak to them intimately, know everything about your customer avatar, go deep on them. One offer, just do and sell one thing. One way of getting leads, just get really good at one thing. One way of selling, choose a telephone, choose a webinar, don't care. And one way of delivery, and just get really, really good, because business is like a hose. And I'm a creative person. I think most entrepreneurs are. And I'm constantly trying to twist the hose, But if we just straighten the hose, everything flows through it really, really nicely. And it's really hard. It's really, really hard, right? And so we make it a lot harder just by complicating the crap out of everything.
Yeah,
and smart people are more susceptible to that. So my advice to myself still to this day is simplify the shit out of everything and stop fucking complicating it, James. Can I say that to your audience? Is that okay?
Yes, you can. Yes. This is my podcast. They're quite attuned to those eloquent words.
Okay. Yes. We're among friends then.
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah, and James Wedmore actually talks about, business being a piece of string. It's the same thing as a hose. And he actually says a very similar thing, like we try and tie it in knots and like tie a knot in it, and then you're like, oh, stuck. Oh, well, untie the knot. How do we unravel that? And then he actually takes it a step further by saying this is a straight line, but actually you can join the two ends together and just go straight from here to here, like end to end, right? And so you've got the loop underneath, and you've already done that so many times now. You just go straight to the end.
Yeah, his metaphor's way better than mine. I'll have to steal that one next time.
It's extension, you see. So you're going doing the straight hose. Now we're going to join the ends together. There you go.
There we go.
Cool. So, I know you've done lots and lots and lots of things over your entrepreneurial journey, but what legacy are you trying to create and leave in the online space?
People unpack their magic. The greatest untapped asset on earth is people's knowledge and skills and experience. And it pisses me off that people haven't moved out of the industrial age and into the knowledge economy, because people are still renting their time to other people and just getting paid for it. They're only getting paid for a finite resource, right? We've only got so much time on earth. Yet inside them, they have this magic. They can solve problems. They can do things that they make look easy that other people find difficult. And we're in an age where you can get paid for that. You can literally get paid to exist. And when I see someone stepping out from like just renting stuff to people, renting themselves, renting their energy and renting their ideas to people for, just getting paid on its time, and they actually tap into the magic they've found through doing things, through failing, through succeeding, through relationships, through experience. That's why I do it. Because it's so untapped, and we're just getting started, and we're just kind of understanding how much leverage we have as people, that we can talk like this today, that I just got off the phone with a Zoom with a brand new client in San Antonio. I've never been to San Antonio.
Amazing.
Isn't that magic? Yet people are still acting like they're battery hens in a factory farm, just churning the handle over and over, giving away their most important thing. And we don't have to, and we shouldn't do it. And I don't give a shit what you call yourself, a coach, a consultant, an agency or whatever. You can solve someone else's problems because you've solved plenty in your life, and you can deliver a hell of a lot more benefit than just renting your time to somebody.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, I can tell you that you're already doing that. You've definitely touched our lives in such a way that's, helped elevate it so that both Scott and I can, spend time doing all of our training and with our little boy Josh, in a much more free way than we would if we both had jobs and he was in creche, from 7 till 6 kind of thing, and all that, just, and even in the smaller ways, that's made a huge impact, and you're doing that multiple times over. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So how can people get in touch with you? What's your preferred?
Go on the Facebooks, right? I'm not a boomer. I'm 40 this year, but I'm still on the Facebooks. Still on the Facebooks. See, I even call it that just to piss people off. Find me on Facebook. I write stuff. Occasionally I make videos. I like writing. Sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it's amusing and offensive to the wrong kind of person. So find me on Facebook. Got a workshop coming up in August, which helping people understand that they've got a product inside them, and they can unpack their knowledge, and then show them some really simple ways to market it. So if you find me on Facebook and follow along with that, then would love to see you live on that, because I'm a teacher. I love getting on and drawing scribbles on my iPad and unpacking people's magic.
Yeah, it's really. Are you going to do hot seats on it, or is it going to be just?
Oh, we got lots of stuff. I can't tell you.
Oh, come on!
But I will tell you this: Zoom, as a tool, when you use breakout rooms and all the things it's got, you can create some pretty cool experiences. And I think that's our job these days. I think, as we've all been shunted online in a quite violent way this year, like more than some people probably anticipated, you can deliver amazing experiences to people, and people are craving that. And we're gonna try and deliver that on our workshop as well. So make it impactful, but make it a bit fun too.
Wow. Awesome. Sounds wicked. Okay. So we'll put all the links in the show notes so that you guys can jump in there and have a look and get one of the seats that is in there, because obviously, it's only got a certain number. So
you've got to have scarcity. We have real scarcity, not fake internet scarcity. There's only a certain number of spots.
Do you know, I had that on my last webinar that I did, and my Facebook ad specialist said to me, remove that it's only got 200 seats. People don't believe that shit anymore. And I was like, well, maybe we can just put on there, I'm too cheap to pay for a big webinar room, so there isn't 200 seats.
That's way better. That's way better.
I hadn't paid for the full webinar. If you are new to webinars, you pay for a certain different sizes. And I never pay for the really big one. I always just pay for the smaller one. And I think, well, if there's lots of people on, I can just upgrade, on live. And so, it's not bullshit when I say here's X number of seats, because it's true.
That's way better. I only paid for the basic package on Zoom, so therefore I've only got 100 people.
Yeah. So if you don't turn up, you're out. Right. Okay. So as a last soundbite, I always like to get my people on the podcast to leave the listeners with your favorite one-liner that you give yourself to get momentum in your business daily.
We're way more defined by the people that we don't work with than the people that we do. So preserve your energy, focus on your tribe, and ignore everybody else.
Energy vampires, be gone. Brilliant. Love it. Hey, well, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for listening. If you want to find out more from James and be either enlightened or a little bit aggravated, because either way you're going to get some amazing movement within yourself and within your business, then jump on over to his Facebook page. We'll pop all the links in the show notes below, and make sure that you are not selling your time for money, and that you are actually bringing the magic out within yourself. So it's amazing. Thank you for joining me today for this episode, and make sure that you listen in for the next one that's coming up very soon. Thank you. If you love the woo with the do, and you want to dive deeper into how you too can get and keep momentum in your business, then join thousands of other online entrepreneurs like yourself and head on over to Amazon and grab a copy of my book, Get Momentum, your ultimate guide to create 100K in 100 days without fear, overwhelm, and burnout. And while it's being delivered to you, you'll have time to leave a 5-star review of the podcast before you head on over to the next episode.